You guys ever think to yourself, what the hell am I doing with my life? What the hell am I even doing, man? Like it's crazy. It's crazy how life is. How you'll just be living and sometimes you don't even have a plan. Sometimes you don't even have a goal or a mission. You're just kind of you're drifting, Just being a drifter, The term drifter, it's kind of I feel like it's fallen out of popularity. They use a lot of terms like neat or unemployed or checked out from society. But truth be told, most of us are just drifters. We don't like know what we're doing with our life. We're just kind of like living day by day, maybe month to month. Even if you have a job, even if you're working a job, maybe it's just part-time, maybe even if it's full-time, maybe it's a low-paying job, so the doesn't even, the money doesn't even last you. Or even if you have money, it's not even, I believe being a drifter isn't even about just money. It's just about not really having a set plan for life. Like in what is it, Rambo? There's that scene where like the cop or the sheriff or whatever, he goes up to Rambo and he's like, "We don't like drifters like you around this town." And it does feel like that sometimes. It does feel like most places don't like drifters. It's like if you're not working this like intense career, like no one's really gonna like you. No one's really gonna no one's really gonna mess with you like that. And that's me. I'm a drifter, man. It hurts me to admit because I always wanted to be this, like, when I was young, I really subscribed to the idea of, being this upstanding citizen and a taxpayer and progressing with career and all that. But as I like grew up, I kind of had a little bit of that failure to launch syndrome. And it just kind of led to me being a drifter. Just having like a drifter's mindset, like screw 10 years from now, man. 10 years from now I might not even be alive. And 10 years go by and you are alive. And you just get you just get reminded you're a drifter. But I mean, at the end of the day, who cares, right? Most of us are probably going to die. Even if we work hard, even if we give it all we got, most of us are probably going to die in a very brutal way. Maybe we might be trapped inside of a car after we got hit by like a semi truck, or maybe you might develop the Manser if you just replace the M with the C at the beginning. Maybe you get the Manser and you just get chewed up. But I mean, at the end of the day, that doesn't excuse being a drifter. Because at the end of the day, the only one who suffers the consequences of being a drifter is the drifter himself. There's that show. There's that book, Outwitting the Devil, and it's like the devil, quote unquote, talking about like how drifters, like drifters are like his favorite and all that because they suffer a lot and stuff. And it's true, man. If you're a drifter, you're gonna struggle a little bit here and there. Like I said, it's not even just money. Sometimes you're gonna find difficulty trying to find purpose, reason to wake up every day. But I mean, it's just in your drifter ways to not really have purpose. I mean, if you were a person who just had purpose naturally, and I wouldn't even use the word purpose. If you were just the guy who had this like this drive to achieve what society wants us to achieve, which is like a good job and maybe a wife and kids, then you wouldn't even be a drifter. You would just be that guy. But it's in you to be a drifter. You're not just born a drifter, man. I personally believe like you get formed and molded into being a drifter. Maybe you don't have luck with the ladies, so it's kind of hard for you to sometimes find motivation to just get up and continue the wage slave routine for 30 plus years. Because for what? You know, maybe you're not going to have children. Maybe you've come to the idea and have accepted the idea that you won't be a father. So you don't have that pressure on you. Like, oh, I got to save up, college funds, diapers, and all that stuff that normies need, right? So you just kind of drift. You kind of just take time off. You just focus on you and what you want to do at the moment. There's nothing wrong with being a drifter, man. Most people are drifters without even knowing it. Even if, most guys, even if they do have children and wives, and they're drifters. They just kind of give in to the whole being a dad thing and just work a job till they're 70 and then they just die. And society would tell them they're not drifters. Like, oh, you work the career, you raise children. But is that really like what he wanted at his core? Like, people always talk about how like, oh, every man just wants one thing, and it's like a wife and kids. It's like, really? Is that really what most men want? Is that like most men's end goal? A wife and kids? I don't think so. I think that's obviously something every man wants, but I don't think it's like the one thing they want. I personally believe most men want to be great. Most of us, we probably grew up without even knowing it, but we Chad worshipped, I'll call it that. It's like Chad worshiping. Like, people always talk about Alexander the Great. Like, that's a Chad worship. Like, you're amazed by this guy's greatness and you want to be like him. Or even if you're not into history or anything, or Genghis Khan, like Genghis Khan's another guy. I think most guys would probably be hella happy to live a life that Genghis Khan lived. Conquering people, developing nations, taking, thousands of wives. Like, this whole idea that most men just want this one wife and a couple of kids. Sometimes I believe that's like a dream sold to people to not make them feel like they're drifting. Like, oh, if you could achieve this, if you could achieve a wife and kids, you're not a drifter. But in reality, they're just drifters. Because all their money is just going to like CVS for diapers and, food for less and Kroger. So you're really no different than just a drifter. Like, most drifters, they probably live, simple lives. Maybe they have a room, a computer, maybe a console. And maybe they just make enough to eat, to feed themselves, maintain a roof over their head. And, they'll call us drifters. But a guy who does the same thing, but with the wife and a couple of kids, they call him a successful man. They call him a winner. When all he did was just maintain baseline. All he did was probably like pay his rent or his mortgage. Maybe put a kid or two through school. Took the wife out on the weekends here and there. But they don't call him a drifter. Most women are drifters too. If you actually look at it, it's just sometimes the term drifter or the term neat or the term, bum, he's a bum. That's another one that gets thrown around a lot nowadays is bum. Oh, he's a bum. Like most women are bums too. Like most women, they just work enough to pay. They get knocked up, have a couple of kids, get on welfare, maybe work just enough to pay the rent. It's a drifter. But whatever. Screw it, man. I'm a drifter. I probably won't achieve anything great. I'm more than likely not ever going to be a revolutionary, a chapter, a whole textbook on history about me. I'm more than likely going to just live my life out and then meet some type of demise, maybe a vicious one. And then I just perish and fade off into existence, fade off into nothingness, And I'll be labeled a drifter. Like all he did was drift. He just played video, beat his meat, ate slop. And, so be it, man. I'm a drifter. I'm a drifter, man. And I personally believe a lot of people are drifters as well. Don't let a job fool you, man. Don't let somebody working a job at a company fool you. They're probably miserable. They probably envy the drifter. It takes a lot of courage to be a drifter. It takes a lot of courage. You gotta really have some thick skin and not care what people think about you to be a drifter. Because when you're a drifter, like a textbook drifter, maybe you're in and out of work, seasonal work, eat cheap, potatoes, rice, have a small little room. When you're a drifter, people are going to have a lot to say about you. They're going to have a lot to say to you. There's going to be a whole lot of talking going on behind your back when you're a true drifter, especially as a man. No one really talks about women. Sometimes women like to role play, I'm 40, I'm running out of time, I'm a drifter. It's no, you're not. You could just marry some 30-year-old guy who's into older women, and he'll level you up. But a male drifter that isn't no Chad, nobody's got no love for a male drifter. I experienced this not too long ago. Some relative of mine found out that I was drifting, that I was out of work. And they just couldn't believe it. They're like, what? He's he left his job? What? It's they can't. Most normies and most normal people in society that are just wages, they can't comprehend what a drifter does. Because they're programmed to just be a wagey. They're programmed to just believe that not having a job at all times is horrible, that it's a waste of life. Most people think that if you're not working, it's a waste of your life. Oh, you should be working, man. You're wasting your life. So what does that tell you, man? Was that tell you what they think about drifters? You know, if you're a drifter like me, drop a middle finger emoji in the comment section, man. If you're a drifter like me, drop a middle finger emoji. Put that middle finger up to society. I'm a drifter. Boom. You know, put your finger up. Take that. It takes a lot of guts, man, to be a drifter. To not succumb to the pressure of society, to just try to be a square. Like, even the way you dress, even if you don't cut your hair all the time, people think you're a drifter. Like, oh, he's a drifter. He's a drifter, man. He's a drifter. But you know what? I don't even know if this video made too much sense. I guess that's why I'm called the Babbling Loner. So I'm just babbling. But I'll make another video on drifters, man. Peace out.